Hey, Santa Ramon first graders, back at it with phonics. This is Phonics Unit 5, Session 6. With this lesson, you will need this paper. It says at the top AIR words. And if you have a piece of paper or a pencil or like a dry erase and a marker or something like that, that would be perfect because I'm going to have you writing some words at the end of this lesson, okay? Otherwise, let's just listen up really carefully so that we can understand these words, because these are kind of funny words. So you remember at the beginning of the year when we talked about the letters C and K, like the word cat. And for some reason, you know, if you look at the word cat, you know, I know you guys know now, that even though a K could work here, you know it's a C, because you just know that cat is C-A-T and not K-A-T, right? So that's going to be similar to the work we're going to be doing today. We're going to be learning about the sound that this word makes, air, air. And there are a few different ways to make this word. You could make this word by saying A-I-R. You could make it by saying this looks like R here, but sometimes in a word it's going to sound like air. Or sometimes, even this looks like ear, sometimes in a word, it sounds like the same sound that air makes. So it's confusing. There are a few different ways to make that same sound. So we're going to look at different words. And the idea with this is that you're just going to get used to the idea that these letter arrangements can make the same sound depending upon which word's used in. And the way you're going to understand it is you're just going to start to see it and know it. And that sounds so weird. Like, how on earth am I going to just be able to see it and know what's right or wrong? But the more you read, the more you are going to be able to do that. I can't exactly explain it, you guys. It's like something happens inside your brain, and it like a little neuron. We talk about the neurons inside your brain, and they just fuse together, and all of a sudden your brain's going to be like, oh, I know it. And I can't tell you when it's going to happen. You don't really know. But just all of a sudden, you're going to understand it. And you might already understand it. You might see these words and say, oh, Mrs. Chasman, I already know this. And not even realize you know it. Okay. So what I'm going to do first is, I'm going to read a little, sorry guys, I lost my timing here. I'm going to read a little story to you, okay? And I want you to listen for the words that have air in it. And it might be spelled A-I-R, but it might be spelled differently. But don't worry about how it's spelled right now. You're just listening for that air sound, okay? When you hear it, I want you to put your thumb up, okay? I'm going to have my thumb ready. Ready? Ian, we have an Ian in my class this year. Ian had a new pair of skates. Did you hear the air in the word pair? Thumb up, pair. Pair of skates. He wanted to be a super skater. He wanted to do big jumps in the air. Did you guys hear it? The word air. Air again. Yep. He liked to picture his mom standing there. Did you hear it in the word there? The air? Yep. Okay. He knew she would stare when he jumped. Did you hear it? Stare. Good job. Air. Stare. She would say, someday you will wear a medal. Where? Do you hear it? Okay, so now I'm going to show you that story. I'm going to put it up on, I have the story on my paper here. I'm going to put it up on my little easel, okay? Hopefully you can see that, okay? Okay. So now let's look for those words that have the air, and then I'm going to move it. Sorry, I'm going to move this up a little bit so you guys can see it a wee bit better. Okay, great. Okay, so Ian had a new pair of skates. So here's that word pair, and here it's spelled, the air is A-I-R. We're just going to write that down so we remember that. He wanted to be a super skater. We don't have any in that one. He wanted to do big jumps in the air. There's another one, and look, spelled the same way. We'll put a little check there. He liked to picture his mom standing there. So there's the word there. And this time the air is spelled E-R-E. Sounds like A-I-R, but it's not. It's E-R-E. He knew she would stare when he jumped. So there's another one, stare. This time, what is it? It's A-R-E. A-R-E. Now we've got three different ways when he jumped. She would say, someday you will wear a medal. Look, you guys, there's another way. Wear is E-A-R. I'm going to move that over there a little bit. So there are 4 ways to make that same sound. That is amazing. So again, when you're reading and writing, you may not be sure exactly which of these 4 ways to do it. And that's okay. Do the best you can. And when you start to get used to them, then you'll say to yourself, oh wait, I think this is an A-I-R, or I think it's an E-A-R, or I think it's a E-R-E. Let me give you an example of a word. Words that are spelled different ways but sound exactly the same but have different meanings. You could have the word bear, like I was in Yosemite and I saw a bear. This is spelled E-A-R. Or you could say, I went to the cabinet and it was bare, meaning there wasn't any good food in the cabinet to eat. That's B-A-R-R-E. Or I can't bear it any longer. That actually might be spelled. Oh, God, good question. I can't remember if that's B-E-A-R. I think that's B-E-A-R. But and I think there's even a third one that I'm not coming up with right now, you guys. So this is what I'm talking about. It sounds the same, it looks different, and it has different meanings. So you're gonna start to notice this word looks wrong. It just doesn't look like the right word. Okay, so now you're gonna you're gonna finish the sentence for me. On your piece of paper, you're gonna finish this. It says, remember, you don't have to write this part. You're just gonna write the last word. Remember to play. The word I want you to write here is fairly. So you're going to be fair when you play, okay? So I want you to think about, how are you going to spell fairly? What's it going to start with? Fairly. It's going to start with an F. We know that. I'm going to write that down there so I don't get confused. Now, we've got the air sound and then ly. So we've got the ly at the end, L-Y at the end. So how are we going to get that air sound in this? We could do it A-R-E. We've learned that version. We've learned F-A-I-R-L-Y. We've learned F-E-A-R-L-Y. And then we also learned F-E-R-E-L-Y. We learned that version too. So which one do you think it is? Look at them. So you're going to be looking to see which one you think looks right. If you said this one, you are correct. It's F-A-I-R-L-Y. Okay, and again, you might say to yourself, oh my gosh, I already knew that. Or you might not know that. It's okay. If you don't know that yet, it is okay. I promise you, you're going to start to learn these things. Okay, so now the next thing we're going to do, this is where you need your piece of paper and your pencil or your whiteboard, okay? We're going to write some words. These words are going to be a little departure from the air words we've been talking about. We're going to go back to those R-controlled words we talked about in the last few lessons, okay? So the first word I want you to write at the top of your paper is cat. And write it small enough that you can fit about 6 words on your paper, okay? So write cat. Now you're going to change cat into cart. So remember, think about where's that R going to go to make it cart. Do you remember that? Right, it's going to go after the vowel. So it's going to be C-A-R-T. Okay? So now you're going to change cart into the word part. Like I need a part for my car. Part. What's it going to start with? If you said P, you are right. P-A-R-T. Okay, next word is going to be park. I want to go to the park, but it's closed, so I can't. Ah. All right, park. So it's changing part to park. That's right. It's got to be, so is it going to be a C or a K? Going back to the very beginning of this lesson. You probably know it's a K. And why do you know that? Because you've read a lot and you just know it. And that's what happens. Those little neurons fuse, you guys, and you just learn this stuff. So park. Now you're going to change park into dark. Like it was dark outside. Now remember, I didn't say bark. Don't make it a B. It's a D. It's a D. D-A-R-K. Good. Okay, now the last word you're going to try to write is shark. So use what you have here to write shark. Shark is going to start with an S-H and then A-R-K, just like dark ended with. Okay? Nice job, guys. That is all I have for you today. You did great work. When you're reading, look for those AIR words or ARE or EAR or however it is. Look for that air sound, okay? When you're reading and when you're writing. And when you're writing, if you're confused, you think, "Oh no, I don't know which one it is." That's where you can ask your adult or your older sibling, "Hey, I need help knowing which one this one is because I just haven't learned what it looks like yet." And that's what's going to help you learn what it looks like. And if you come across a word that you're like, "Oh my gosh, I use this word all the time and I really want to know how to spell it," what can you do? You can do the way we make it a snap word, right? Go back to make it a snap word. Even if it's not a snap word for first grade, it can become a snap word for you. So if there's a word you're using all the time, do this. Read it, study it, spell it, cover it, write it, and check it, and use it, okay? Keep writing them over and over again if you're struggling with them, and that will help you learn them, okay? So read and write, look for your R's and stuff, and your AIRs, all right? I hope you guys have a good day. Bye.